Okay, hello everyone. We start our weekly podcast briefing from Israel Insider. My name is Alex Selsky, and Ashley cannot be here. He doesn't feel well. Good deep evening actually. It's 10 p.m. outside from Jerusalem. And I want to tell you about the another boring week as usual in Israel. Well, as we have, as always, only 15 minutes, so I will take the major issues to tell you about because every day and every hour we have big news, but I will try to give you, the biggest news and then answer your questions. So the first thing I want to start from is the announcement of Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, to nominate to new head of the Mossad, the Major General Roman Goffman, who was his military secretary, army secretary for the last 3 years. And during the whole time of the war, beginning October 7th, he was, sorry, the last 2 years, he entered the work with 2 and something. He entered the work with Netanyahu after October 7th. On October 7th, he was actually the most senior IDF officer that was injured during the fights, during the battles, because he took himself without any equipment, just with his personal weapon, and attacked the terrorists, and he killed few, and he was injured. And after that, Netanyahu took him after he recovered. He took him and he was promoted to be Major General. And he was together with Netanyahu as his military secretary during the whole, definitely, war in Gaza and Lebanon and Iran. And he considers to be a very brave, a very creative, a very very combat officer, and this brings this nomination has few uh, implications and commentaries that uh, we can find in the media. First of all, he's coming outside the Mossad. Now, this is the not so many cases in the history of the Mossad, but there were cases, about 6 of them, when a head of the Mossad was nominated from outside, and some of them were very successful. Like the last one, which we all remember, was uh, the nomination that Sharon did. Um, I forgot his name. I will just recall. He nominated his actually very close to him a general that was a general before in the army, and then um, and then he was in campaign of Likud, and he was one of the best Mossad chiefs. But there were other stories when it was not successful. But for the Mossad itself, it's very painful because we see that it's people say that it's kind of a message for the Mossad that the prime minister brings someone from outside, and he sends the message that he's not satisfied with the work of the Mossad, even though we all definitely remember the very good, the very successful operations of the Mossad during the last uh, year. Moral, okay, okay. So there is a criticism about that Netanyahu brings someone from outside, that he brings someone without the experience, that doesn't know the organization. More than that, the Major General Goffman, he doesn't have any experience of commanding a big, uh, you know, really senior command within the army. He was he was as a brigadier general. He definitely was commanding, a brigade in the north, but he didn't have, he didn't command on something very big like major generals. They have the whole like a, a corps of the army commanding. He didn't have this experience, and his position of being the major general comes only from his working together with Netanyahu. But on the other hand, he's again known as a very brave and very courageous and very creative, and he was on all the most significant um, decision-making now moments together with Netanyahu, and he's very close to Netanyahu. And also he's coming kind of as an outsider. He was born in the former Soviet Union. He came when he was 14. He considers to be a bit outsiders. This is a very interesting nomination. Also socially, I can tell you as one that was, as made Aliyah from Russia at the age of 16, this is a major breakthrough, major nomination for someone who made Aliyah in the 90s. A few other things that I want to run through, which are very significant. News just from a couple of hours ago, the party of Smotrich, of Bezalel Smotrich, the religious Zionists, decided that they support the draft law, and they support the position of the Haredi community. The draft law that was drafted by the head of the Defense and Foreign Affairs Committee, Boaz Bismuth, who replaced Yuli Edelstein. And we see that this law now really divides Likud and divides the right-wing camp. We see many MKs from the Likud that say that this law is bad, that it's a betrayal, that they will not vote. And when we see a party that represents the Zionist religious camp in the Knesset supporting the Haredi leadership in this law, it's a major political, security, and social event, because I think that Smotrich will be punished by his voters in the elections. He does it in order to maintain the coalition, but I think that this is maybe a good for him right thing to do in the short run, but I think it's a mistake for the long run. And again, it's a major shift. And already we see Bennett, who will be running in the next election on this slot of representing the Zionist religious camp. He already speaks that this is a betrayal, a very, very, I must tell, unexpected development. So let's see where it goes. But I still think that we will not see draft law until the elections, but this may be a game changer. Another thing that I think is also very significant is the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz was in Israel a few days ago. He closed a very big weapon deal, export of Israeli weaponry to Germany. This is after a boycott that Germany had on uh, Israeli weapons, and they didn't want to send weaponry to Israel during the war in Gaza. And Merz is coming to Israel and actually almost apologizes for that, and he says that yes, we had hard times, but we are very committed to Israel, and actually does a huge weapon deal. And that's a major support of Europe. After all, don't see what they say, see what they do. And they do support Israel in this very big deal. And I think that this is a very, very big sign of Europe understanding who is the winner and who they should work with. Another important thing that definitely um, all Israelis deal with is the letter that Trump wrote to President Herzog with the request to pardon Netanyahu. And now there are talks that actually there was a deal between Netanyahu and Herzog, while Netanyahu supported Herzog to be the president in return for further pardon of Herzog to Netanyahu. There is some businessman that was middleman between these two, and he says that I know that it was a deal, it was an agreement, and he threatens Herzog that if Herzog gives the pardon, this businessman, he will reveal all the connections and all the deal that was between them. Herzog says that it's nonsense. Netanyahu definitely doesn't relate to that. We see that, talks all the time. We will see huge pressure on Herzog from definitely the center left camp not to give any pardon, even though we do see unexpected calls within the left center to give the pardon in return for Netanyahu to quit the politics. But in the press conference with the German Chancellor, Netanyahu was asked if he will be willing to quit in return for pardon, and he immediately said no. So it shows us that the situation with the pardon is at the moment kind of a dead end, because um, and Netanyahu says that, listen, if I will not get the pardon without quitting, I will go until the end. And this is security issue because this disturbs me to work. I cannot attend these in these hearings, twice or three times a week. That hurts me. That hurts the security. That hurts the work of the PM. It cannot be working like this. So it's not that I'm thinking about myself. I'm thinking about the state. Let's see where it goes. But the fact that it's out there, and also another thing that in order by the law, for pardon, Netanyahu has to admit, and he doesn't want to admit. So how it will be done, nobody understands at the moment. Two last things I want to touch at my last minute. First, we still have one body of the last Israeli hostage in Gaza. The policeman Ran Gaili, and Israel is pressed to pass forward to the next stage of the agreement. Israel presses saying, no, we have to see the last body, and that's the situation at the moment. And the last thing, which is a bit funny for our American listeners, and there is a storm coming to us from Greece called Byron. Even the name is European/American, and everything is closed. And tomorrow, my girls even maybe don't go to school, and the army stops all the soldiers from going out. Now I can tell you, after knowing, Europe and knowing America, it will be, a little rain maybe, and some wind. And it's funny, we already see memes in the internet that people go out to restaurants with big families and little children when there are rockets from Iran, but they cancel, couples cancel their meetings in a restaurant because of some little rain. So yeah, that's Israelis. They don't care about missiles from rockets from Iran. They live their life, but when it's little snow, little storm, they stop all their lives. So this is a bit funny, but that's Israel. They don't know what real winter is. Okay, so that's funny, Alex. Lisa writes. Yep, that's funny, and that's also Israel. We are funny. We are Jews, and Jews are first of all funny. So I'll go through the questions that I have. Um, some of you don't ask questions; they put comments, which also very interesting, maybe to read. The Germans will never forgive the Jews for Auschwitz. I read a book that says of one Israeli very known and popular journalist that says that uh, Germans want to know that Jews are bad, that Israel is bad, because if Israel is bad, so their grandparents were not so bad killing Jews, and if Jews are good, so it's a very hard dilemma to think why our grandfathers did it. So there is many claim that there is truth in what you say. What is the government doing to address the growing waves of educated Israelis leaving the country? Asking Carrie Hillebrand. Well, we do see people leave Israel, but I must tell you, I was for many years working on diaspora. I was a member of the board of governance of the Jewish Agency and member of the board of um, executive board of the World Zionist Organization. I must tell you that it's much more complex issue, and we should see, because many people leave and they come back. Look at the numbers of people who came back immediately after October 7th. Not only came back, they came back to serve and to fight. I'm not impressed so far by the numbers we see. On the other hand, many Jews who make Aliyah, yes, definitely. I know people that, leave for studies and for work, for what we call relocation. Let's see where they will be in year or two or three. And I think that it's not as massive as it's portrayed in the media. Media always, exaggerates. Yes, the numbers are a bit higher than usual, and definitely I think that the situation during the last 2 years was complex. What government does a lot, giving grants for the scientists and some other programs. But we're a democratic state. If someone wants to go, he'll go. Again, I'm not bothered too much. I know that Israelis who leave, they stay close and they come back when they understand that it's we just have Greg came back with his family during the war to Israel. So if Greg came, I think that it equals to many people who left. So we can be quiet. Um, can you please comment on Turkish-Israel relations in terms of Cyprus and the Mediterranean energy equation? Well, I'm proud to announce that we, the Middle East Forum, just initiated a floor debate in the Knesset after we initiated actually the establishment of the East Mediterranean Cooperation Caucus in the Knesset in the summer, and now we initiated a floor debate following the emergency motion, and 6 members of Knesset, one who initiated it, who filed it, Watal from um, he's one of the co-chairs of the caucus. He filed the motion, and he spoke in the floor debate, and another 5 MKs joined him. So it was 3 MKs from coalition, 3 MKs from opposition. It showed that there is a wide understanding in the Knesset about the Turkish threat, and the discussion from the floor debate goes to the Defense and Foreign Affairs Committee. So we definitely see in the Knesset and in the government a big interest, deep understanding of the threat of Turkey. And there are many new initiatives of the government about the energy, about the export of gas, cooperation in security, cooperation in intelligence, many new initiatives, the IMEC corridor, which is very important for the United States. This is American initiative. IMEC meaning India, Middle East, Europe corridor that we also, push. We Middle East Forum and Israel pushes to explain to all the policymakers in the United States that Israel has to be part of IMEC and not Turkey, because Turkey is the Islamist, not stable, hurting the West, doing propaganda against the West, hosting the terrorists, hosting Hamas, hosting Muslim Brotherhood. So it's not smart, not stable to give Turkey any significant role. But not everyone in America understands that, and the fact that that Turkey might be given a role in Gaza, I think the Israelis will not let them do that. But I can tell that this issue is very, very discussed with eyes on the ball by everyone and us also, and we play a significant role in also pushing for more policies to counter the Turkish threat. Do you think Israel will, Eric Selkov asking, do you think Israel will withdraw from Gaza to implement phase 2? Well, we just heard the chief of staff of IDF saying that the yellow line is the new border, kind of. That's message to the Hamas to say that we stay on the yellow line, and I don't think that Israel will easily withdraw from the yellow line. Definitely not before the last body. Definitely not before seeing any efficient and really a strong force sitting in Gaza that will take control. It's a very complex issue. Hamas tries and succeeds to continue to control Gaza. I think it will be a very, very a hard battle, and Israel, I think, will have to go inside again to fight Hamas. I don't think, and I'm not alone, that any international force from wherever will be really motivated and capable. We see it from South Lebanon with UNIFIL, will be capable to really dismantle or fight Hamas. So I think that it will be only IDF, and I don't see Israel easily withdraws before they will see real progress. What's the latest with the investigation to MK Mansour Abbas Ram and his funneling funds to Hamas? Well, it's a long issue. I just want to tell, there is an investigation. I just want to tell you that he announced in an interview to Amit Segal just on Saturday that Ram will leave will disconnect from the religious institutions of the party, meaning they will not be connected anymore to any religious institution and not be connected to um, Muslim Brotherhood. And this is major development. Let's see that that's happening, and let's see if many will believe him. But they claim, right, that they disconnect from anything connected to any religious institution, to the Shura committee. Let's see. Let's see. That's a very interesting development. We have another 5 minutes, so let's see other questions. What is Israel's reaction to U.S. ambassador to Syria saying that Israel is not a democracy? I don't know. I didn't see any reaction to that. I don't think that we have to, justify. I think that everybody who really understands what Israel is, knows that Israel a democracy, sometimes even too much of a democracy, with more freer press than I think majority of the democracies in the world. So I think it's I don't think that we even have to react to that. Um, why has Qatar was why has Qatar, who was also responsible for October 7th, given such an important role in negotiations? That's an issue that was discussed so many times already. And this question, by the way, should be directed not only to Israelis but also to the Americans, right? How come that after the Israeli attack on Qatar, they go to the White House and receive such a good security agreement that gives Qatar, such a good defense and backup from the White House? So um, uh, we understand that the biggest backers today of Qatar are Americans and White House doing business with them and very big money. Uh, Many definitely in Israel say that that Netanyahu did a very big mistake by letting Qatar in. Um, Moreover, Qatar was isolated by the whole area, the whole Middle East, by Saudis in 2019, and some claim that those who gave them the who rescued them were Israelis and Netanyahu by letting them into Gaza and funding Hamas. Um, I am one of those who think that we should be harder on Qatar and that we should not let Qatar play such a role because Qatar is like Turkey, right? They play double game. By one hand, they host terrorists and fund terror and anti-American propaganda in America, and by other hand, they invest and pay and host American army. I think that we should look at the first much more seriously than on the second. But you definitely can send your question to the White House as well. Okay, these I think the major questions that I had, and I think that these are the major issues that we had now. And let's pray that tomorrow will not be as rainy as we think, and let's have only, as we say in Hebrew, only good news. So thank you all very much for listening and for following up and for caring for Israel. Strong Israel is strong America. And we are the front line for America and for the world jury. So thank you all very much for following up. We'll be here next week. Apparently, Ashley will be here next week telling you the current issues from Israel as we do every week. Thank you.